Welcome to the family with
Hackmaster Ralph W. Basham, MD.
And Andy Brant Barnard.
and Cottonwood in my throat again. Man, that stuff is kicking my butt.
Yep.
I will tell you.
It is coming down like it's snowing.
Yes, it is.
No, honest to God, it's the, like I said, it's the Melaleucas in Florida and it's the Cottonwood here, and it's completely different.
Oh, your allergy symptoms are different from both?
Oh, God, it's unbelievable. I all of a sudden just start coughing. I don't know what the hell it's all about. You know, I'd like to just go on to a news site, and read the news stories that are on there. But according to every news site I popped on so far today, everyone's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Honest God, man 21 injured in shooting at University of Minnesota campus. Minnesota records first case of H5N1 bird flu in dairy herd. Damaged freighter arrives in Thunderbird. Everything's negative. Every story's negative.
I know. What is it? It bleeds, it leads kind of stuff. It's a shame. It is a shame because you watch it and you just get depressed by watching the news. It's just all the doom and gloom and that sort of stuff.
True. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, the news for the 4-year-old boy that went missing yesterday is not good. They found him dead in the creek by his house.
Yeah,
we figured.
That's
so sad.
It is. A kid, kid like that who's thrown off. It's a lot to navigate his home, let alone to get out into an environment where he's never been. It's just too much. And
why, maybe as a doctor, you could answer this question: why are little children attracted to water as much as they are?
I don't know. I have no idea because my grandkids,
Nana's here.
They can't get enough water.
I know. It's true.
Hands in water. Can I turn the water on? Can I play with this water? Is water? Can I get in the water? If I could just get in the water and play with the water with a toy, I'd be happy then.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ethan loves just sitting in the tub and playing with his toys in the water. He'll sit in there for like half an hour.
I know. What is that? Or a child will jump in and out of a pool for all day.
Yes, they will
until they can't move. It's an interesting thing. Yeah. That's a good question. What is the fascination for kids with water?
Yeah, do you know that, Catherine? Why are kids so fascinated with water?
It's fun.
Because it's just fun to be in.
There's a freedom. There's a floating. The whole.
Yeah, but even if they're not floating, they're playing with it. They're playing with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's the number one toy in the yard? A hose.
Yep, that is true.
So, you're right. It's a funny kind of a thing.
Come on, open up here.
It is indeed.
Maybe it's a throwback to them being in the womb. Floating in water.
They're floating around in liquid in there. That's true.
First 9 months of their life.
Well, body fluid, liquid fluid, whatever.
Bodily fluids and semi-fluids.
Yeah,
all liquids are fluids, but not all fluids are liquids.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I need a mic.
There you go.
There you go.
Hello.
There she is.
Hey, are you hitting up the miles for whatever it is?
Miles?
Yeah.
Am I what?
Are you talking about Scott coming in this weekend?
No.
Oh, he's coming in here?
No.
Why, no.
Lake Itasca State Park. I printed that thing out for you.
Where?
I don't know where it went. I put it right on top of your computer like last week.
It's so weird because here's what happens. I get here and everything's just gone.
Oh.
So it's whatever.
Maybe Andy can print that again unless you.
Well, you guys can talk
it.
about because you know what it's all about.
Well, I don't have the.
You and I are headed up on Friday to Itasca. We're going to Detroit Lakes first and then to Itasca. And then Saturday's the day that the actual celebration goes on, correct?
Yes, he's riding in
Miles for Money. I've got it up here.
milesformoney.org.
June 15th, 2024. Meet at 9:30, bike at 10, party at 11 a.m.
Yeah, he's coming in. They want people to go a half an hour out on the bike trail and meet him on the road or wherever he's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes into the Itasca State Park, and then there's going to be a silent auction and a welcoming him back. And apparently ESPN was out in one of the Dakotas. I'm guessing he came in South Dakota, not North Dakota.
Right.
And filmed him. So hopefully there will be a nice piece on him someday soon on ESPN.
He found out that he had prostate cancer,
An
correct?
advanced
Stage
icky.
4.
Yeah,
Stage 4.
advanced icky kind too.
Mhm.
And decided to ride his bike around the outskirts of the entire United States.
Yeah, he's been to Florida, California. He just biked through Montana and all of that.
Washington.
Washington. I mean, honest to God, how many miles does it have?
It does
That's
not
like
say how many
million?
miles.
Well,
Oh,
it's gotta be
I
like-
know.
Somewhere
sorry,
around
it's-
a million.
It's hard to comprehend on a bicycle. I mean, that is.
Well,
What is the path?
he went around and if you draw a picture of the United States, he went around that entire thing.
What's the capital of Maine?
Bangor?
Bangor, I think.
Bangor,
Bangor.
Maine. All
I
right.
think.
Okay, so from Bangor, Maine to
I mean, he's,
we all just say Seattle.
Yeah.
And then down to I don't
California.
know, what's like
oh, I guess
what's a
maybe what's
south? What's a very South California city? San
Oh,
Diego.
San Diego.
San Diego.
San Diego.
Yep, right on the border.
All right, San Diego. Then we'll go over to
Texas.
well, we just shoot across to. I'm guessing he didn't go all the way down to like the Everglades, did he?
no, he probably did the north part.
Yeah. So
I mean, it would count if
don't
he
know.
put in, if he went an inch into a state, right?
we'll go to
suppose.
Jacksonville.
I mean, it should count.
And then back to Bangor, Maine.
I know. It's
I'm
incredible.
guessing 20,000.
It's the beauty of Google Maps. Really.
Yes, exactly.
On a bike, we are talking.
Wow,
It's such a long route; it has to think for a little while. Before.
Yeah,
Here we go. 9,200 miles.
9,000. I thought it'd be twice that much.
Well, I mean, if you actually go like literally around the like
Yeah.
borders of the country, it probably would be closer to like 14,000.
Yeah,
But we're just
yep.
going to like we're doing a rough estimate here.
Yeah, if it's 3,000 miles across the country roughly. So
Yeah.
2 of that, and then I think 15 miles north south.
When
So,
did
yeah,
they
that makes sense.
When did they first come in, Catherine?
Oh God, a long time ago. He's been at this a while. I'll just read some of the email I just got from Katie today.
There you go.
Katie is riding in the support RV so he can
Oh,
sleep.
so he's on a bike and she's in an RV.
Well, he has to
That's
have
fair.
someplace to sleep and eat and
That's true.
and such, and just take a rest from. I can't imagine his hiney must have a callus the size of Texas on it by now. Anyway, Scott bikes into Minnesota today, crosses over 10,000 miles today too, from Enderlin to Barnesville.
I have no idea where those are.
He's taking a day off tomorrow as he has biked 4 days in a row, and she has court via Zoom.
Oh,
At this time, pending weather, looking to be around 100 people coming. Scott will be just outside the north entrance to the park and ride in to join a group for a final few miles.
God, that's great.
My cousin, Randy Imholt, will be riding Scott's Harley motorcycle to carry the ESPN cameraman who will be filming Scott for
Oh.
the final ride in.
Ooh, that's great.
There will be a blow-up arch for the cyclist to cycle through. One of our sponsors is handing out Homer hankies, but with miles for money on it.
Homer hankies. There you go.
They're trying to see if they can get some better sound equipment for us since we're emceeing it, but we don't care. We can just yell.
No, we can yell at people.
They have a
too.
silent auction online, so even if you don't want to go up to Lake Itasca State Park, you can bid on items online. When they get near the parks Friday, she'll be driving in to test her Starlink in the park to see if it works for the auction and streaming. And they also have some raffles for Miles for Money gear. All donations through auction, raffle, and straight donations benefits Zero Prostate Cancer nonprofit. So they aren't taking a penny of this. They're around $215,000 so far. So there we go.
That's very
And
cool.
there's a bunch of stuff about what we're gonna do and what our duties are. So yeah, it should be a great time. Hopefully the weather will hold and
Yeah, it would be nice.
they'll be able to raise a whole ton of money. I mean, $215,000 is nothing to sneeze at. And the other charity, which I think is the schizophrenia one, they said they don't have the ability to track that. So that could be the same amount of money. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose.
apparently, Miles for Money is both now. They like wrapped it up into one.
Oh, okay.
It says, to fight prostate cancer and schizophrenia. on
because
the
his
thing.
his son was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and
Yep,
he
they are both
sadly
the
took
same.
his life.
Mhm.
So
Oh, that's right.
He's-
Yeah.
Yeah, you can donate either to Zero Prostate Cancer or Schizophrenia and Psychosis Action.
but do it through their website so they get
Right.
the money,
Yep.
or I mean the credit, I guess, not the money.
Mhm.
That would be good.
Yeah,
Are you
this
gonna
is taken.
join the video, or
What? I'm on.
no, you're
It
not?
says I'm backstage.
You did the wrong one then.
For the love of Mike and all
Having nothing
His
but computer
sisters.
problems today.
Mhm.
and his sisters.
Oh, here you go. It says on their website he's biking 11,000 miles. So he
There
must
you
be
go.
doing as close to the circumference of
Yep. Yep.
the country as possible.
I think
Because
that's
I
absolutely true.
adjusted it to do the corners of the country,
Mhm.
like down to Miami and so forth, and it was still only 10,500. So
Oh, okay.
he must be biking,
the whole thing.
basically as close to the outskirts of the country as he possibly
Well,
can.
yeah, and I mean he has had to take time, off to go to doctor's appointments
Right,
and
mhm,
certain
right.
things. So he hasn't been just doing it, nonstop. That's why it's been taking so long. But am I in the right link now?
Nope.
Okay,
Just the latest one.
I quit.
You quit. You got to do the latest
I'm
one.
not taking this anymore.
You're not going to take it anymore. You've had enough.
Oh,
No turkeys.
the turkeys. Okay.
A lot of people do this before they were supposed to get here.
True.
Well,
And not show up 10 minutes
I'm
what
later.
I was-
selling a table, and this woman is like, "I'm coming tonight. I'm coming tomorrow. I'm coming
Oh,
whenever I feel
God.
like it." She's
Oh,
the first one
God.
that's been a gigantic pain in the arse.
Did she finally come and get it?
I'm guessing that it was either turkeys or her. Okay.
No,
let me
that's probably
see.
true. Yeah.
Okay, this is the latest one that I have.
Is it from today?
It doesn't have a date. 7:47 a.m. No date. How's
Well, then
this?
I assume so.
Okay, come on.
Mhm.
It's loading. It's loading.
Nana's got to pop up. There's no question about it.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Hooray!
Oh, look at that.
Ta-da!
Yeah,
there we go.
There we go. Here
There's
we
the
go.
beauty. So is Tim going to be with us today, or
No,
No,
No.
Tim.
No
it's not-
Tim?
he is interviewing some. What was his?
Big
What was
star.
his text message?
That was a
Jude
big
Law, maybe.
Jude Law, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it
Oh,
was. I
nice,
think it was,
nice.
yeah. I think that's true. So I just checked because people wanted to ask me if I would check for them. I do not see anything from the jury on the Hunter Biden trial.
Oh, what a scam that all is.
Well, all of this stuff is a scam. Of course, there was a big vote in Minnesota. They think that the Trump trial was a very good trial and that he should not be allowed to run for president.
Oh, Minnesota. What do you expect? Anything
Yeah,
different?
seriously.
The shock of the century, isn't it?
I'm going to toe the party line at every opportunity.
Absolutely.
That's so sad. I still, but again, I would say whoever expected this kind of thing, but I do remember talking on the KQ morning show about going after Bill Clinton. I said, if you're going to do this, it's never going to end.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, you might remember me doing that. I said, this is just never going to end now. If you go after
That's right.
him, because pretty much every president did something they could have gone after. I would think so.
Oh,
anyway.
absolutely.
Yeah, they're not exactly
They're
saints,
no,
are they?
They're not lily white.
No.
No.
No question. Well, JFK used to invite women over and have sex with them in the White House pool.
No. Don't
Hard
tell
to
me it's not
believe.
true. How can that be?
Hard to believe, isn't it? But yeah, there's nothing yet. But President Biden did say that he would not pardon him if he was found guilty. Do you think that's true?
He isn't going to have to. Some other
Yeah.
judge. He'll get some other judge to
Yep.
do it.
No, that's
He's
probably
not going to
true.
get found guilty.
No,
We all know
no
it.
liberal judge in their right mind, and they're all liberal judges. Let's just face
Yeah,
it.
they are now.
Is
yeah.
going to put him behind bars.
Nope.
It'll be 10,000 hours of community service spread over 100 years. I mean, that's what it'll be. It's not going to be anything interesting at all.
I just love the fact that their big defense, and I don't care about this trial. These people are all filthy, let's be honest. But one of their arguments is the reason he lied on the gun purchase paperwork, asked him if he took drugs, is that he was so drugged up he didn't realize he was drugged up, so he wasn't lying.
Oh, what a twisted kind of a thing.
Isn't that just phenomenal?
Well, doesn't that mean that you are even a greater threat to society?
I would
Because if
think.
you're so drugged, you don't
Right.
even know that you're buying a gun, then how are you going to know what you're doing with the gun once you have the gun?
There you go.
Is there anywhere left on earth you can go without politics ruling your entire life?
Yes, you can go off of the television and off of Twitter
But
and off of
with,
social
with
media.
my job, it's kind of hard to do, so I can't do that. But I mean, there are countries like Switzerland. Switzerland, I guess, has gotten a lot more liberal too now. But you have to follow their rules when you go to Switzerland. That is a
Well,
fact.
there's a lot of globalist money that comes in from these
Yeah,
NGOs to try to run things. You know,
It's true.
and most people are easily
Persuaded.
corrupted.
Corrupt with a little bit. Doesn't take much money.
It's amazing. I guess the number is like $10,000. Most politicians will do almost anything for $10,000.
For 10 grand,
Mhm.
really?
Well, because it's like underneath that. Well, I'm sure it's 9,999, so
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be
right.
reported,
Yep.
and it's easy to hide it. And you do 100 of those a year. And
Yeah,
hide it right.
it's $1 million bucks right there.
Yeah, $1 million.
Who was the woman? She's a black woman. She's a politician, and they just nailed her. She got $15 million during COVID. And the first thing she did with the 15 million, because she said she had all these businesses and all these employees, and that's why she got 15 million, was all bullshit. She didn't really have that. And the first thing she did with the money she got was buy a Rolls Royce.
Is she from Minnesota?
I should be a little more.
That was
sounds like a
Atlanta. It looks like. The
No,
assistant
not
state
Atlanta.
attorney. Yep.
Which city is more corrupt? New Orleans or Atlanta?
Well,
Yeah.
what's that one politician? She's just absolutely living the rock star dream, making videos of herself constantly. She's totally bilking the taxpayers out of money. And
Yeah.
nobody cares.
All
No
of
one
them?
cares.
No one cares.
All of them. There you
No,
go.
this one's like incredibly egregious.
But there's nowhere to go anymore, is there?
No.
I mean,
No.
there's nowhere on the
No.
planet to go anymore. It's all
Mhm.
political bullshit now.
You know, it's interesting because, we started watching this show, which is very, very depressing. It's called The Tattooist of Auschwitz.
Yeah, really good.
And
Oh,
he
man.
was, it was a book,
True story.
true story.
Oh,
And the first thing he said was, first, they made new laws for us every day,
Mm-hmm.
which is exactly what our government is constantly
Yes,
doing now.
yep.
Every day it's a new law. Oh, we just passed a new law, a new law, a new law, a new law. It's like, do we need more laws? It's like all this gun stuff. Oh, we passed another gun law. Well, if you look at how many criminals get their gun charges dismissed every single
Oh,
time,
yeah.
it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
so are guns bad? If guns are bad, then you need to punish people that are using guns in crimes and shooting people,
Right.
not just screaming and hollering about the manufacture and distribution of guns, right? Because
Yeah.
if you go after guns with criminality behind it, then people might not use guns constantly and continually if they get another 10 years or 5 years added onto their sentence.
the unintended consequence of banning guns is that there's going to be an illegal market of guns, and they'll
Oh.
start gun
Oh,
running.
Oh,
There
yeah.
already
Yeah,
is.
no, but even more so. And then those guns
Mhm.
that come in are going to be.
Much worse
It's
than the
op-
guns you could buy normally.
Well,
That's right.
Well,
Yep.
the United States has been gun running to countries forever.
This is
Yeah,
true.
well,
It seems
it'll-
like that's one of
Oh,
our.
so the
sources of
issue is
income.
okay. So automatic weapons have been illegal for civilian use for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when they became illegal, but you can't get automatic weapons unless you get them
Oh,
through the
yeah,
black
there-
market.
No, there's a
Or
registered
unless-
program you can get.
Yeah,
but
you can get
that's-
them like military surplus or whatever, but only in very tightly controlled environments. You can't just
Yes,
like carry
absolutely.
around an automatic.
Oh, yeah.
So okay, now let's say they make all guns illegal. Every semi-automatic rifle is now illegal. If you are a gun runner, why not just start running in automatics,
Yeah.
which fetch a higher price?
Mhm.
Because if you run in semi-automatics, it's just as illegal,
There you go.
and so you're risking your freedom for less money. So now you start bringing in automatics. People start buying automatics on the
And then-
black market, and
and-
it's the 90s when everyone had an Uzi all over again.
And as long as you got the crate, the wooden crate,
Yep.
also bring in a few RPGs.
Yeah, just put in the really expensive stuff. I
What
mean,
anything, and your 50 cal, whatever caliber you want, just so
Yep.
that's a we have to be careful about all that, because there's unintended consequences with all these things, and clearly we've not controlled drugs.
But see, that's
No, we
what's
have
so
not.
interesting to me is that they keep on law, like I said, law, and nothing ever actually happens.
No.
They just can start screaming and yelling, see how wonderful we are. We passed a bunch of gun laws.
Yep.
But everything that they do has no teeth if there are no consequences for having guns in illegal activity, right?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
So what's the point of wasting all of this time and energy? If you really want to save people, there's an easy way to do it. And that would be to prosecute criminals that use guns.
Yep. But that's not the point. The point isn't getting rid of criminals. It's making it so people can't defend themselves against criminals.
Pretty much true, actually. It's just the whole thing has gotten so sideways, and it's all about money. That's what voting's all about, is how much money they can make if they get elected, and everything's about money and scamming now. Everything.
Well,
That's
that's because
sad.
there's no oversight. I mean, if you look
Nope,
at this
it's
feeding
true.
our future debacle, $250 million those
Yep.
people stole easily and blatantly.
Mm-hmm.
And Minnesota did nothing about it. The feds had to come in and do something about it. Minnesota was going to do not one thing about it. It could have continued on for decades before Minnesota would have even acknowledged it, I think.
Yeah.
And so these people are, some of them are being let go. Some of them are being found guilty. Who knows if anything can be clawed back? I've heard it's been very little out of the 250 million. I've heard it's like $8 million that's been clawed back.
Right.
They were paying cash for, $1 million houses. They were buying resorts in Africa. How do you recover the money? And what's going to happen is everybody's going to say, oh, Minnesota, they don't have any oversight on charities. So why not just carbon copy what they did in another way? Right?
I would guess so.
Because Minnesota absolutely refuses to acknowledge that there's people that are going to take advantage of every system. They just won't do it.
All right, this just popped up on my screen. Jury reaches verdict in Hunter Biden's federal gun trial. Now, should I just click on that, or do I
Once-
scroll down? What do I do?
Once again, guns are so horrible. And Hunter Biden is part of the problem, right? Not part of the solution.
This just in, the jury in Hunter Biden's federal gun trial has reached a verdict. It is expected to be read in court soon. The 12-member jury will decide whether the president's son is guilty of 3 charges related to his purchase of a gun in 2018. So I will probably keep it on this page because they're going to read the verdict in very short order.
He has a 5-year-old kid he's never even met.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's just a swell man.
Oh, he's terrible.
Just a
human
swell
being.
guy. And people defend him.
Why do they
Like-
defend him?
They just, because he's Joe Biden's son, I guess.
I got to run this by Ralphie because I talked to you guys about it already. I saw President Biden being interviewed on one of the big networks.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the reporter was. You would probably know who he is. I don't watch that stuff. Whatever. The end of the interview, the guy's interviewing him. He's supposed to be a news person that covers all angles, right?
Yeah.
The end of the interview, he looks at the president of the United States and says, "Thanks for your time, Mr. B." Called him Mr. B. What?
What was that TV show? Was it Happy Days?
Miss-
Where they he call her Mrs. C or something?
Oh, yeah, Mrs. C, Mrs. Cunningham, wasn't
Yeah,
that their
Mrs.
name?
Cunningham.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was a Happy
Mr.
Days.
C.
I think that was Happy Days.
Yeah, it
right?
was.
It wasn't Welcome Back, Cotter.
My brother Terry just loved. No, that was Mr. What they?
Cotter.
Mr. C.
Mr.
I
Cotter.
think they also called him Mr. C.
Oh, did they?
I think so. I
Yeah,
could
I
be
don't know.
wrong. I've been wrong before.
I don't know. Who knows? We shall see what we shall see, I guess.
Yep.
But it
Richie's friends call Marion Cunningham Mrs. C. So there you go. That's what I was thinking
Mrs.
of.
well,
Is that
Mrs.
like a
C, yep,
is
Happy
that a
Days.
is that a Mrs. Cleaver reference?
Well, yeah,
Mrs.
they all
C.
did have C names back then, didn't
They
they?
kinda did,
Cunningham,
yeah.
Cleaver, Cotter. Oh, Cotter was K, wasn't it? Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Cotter
Mr.
was.
Cotter.
Right.
Mr. Cotter. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. Was that Happy Days? Is that the one with Fonzie?
Yes.
Ron Howard. Ron Howard.
Yeah,
that was
Ron
his-
Howard,
yep.
It was at his last acting role.
I think
Was
so.
it? Yeah, he became a director, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
he became a director after that.
Mm-hmm.
A good Burbank boy. Went to Burbank High School.
I remember when Fawn was about maybe 3 or 4 years old. I started calling her Fonzarelli because that was
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fonzie's real last name was
Yeah.
Fonzarelli.
Fonzarelli.
And she looks at me. She's like, I think she was 3, maybe 4. Goes, hey, Fonzarelli, how you doing? And she looks at me and goes, Fawn, not Zarelli.
Oh, well, according to Twitter,
Yeah.
Hunter Biden convicted on all 3 charges at federal gun trial.
Really? They
A
A
convicted
federal
him.
jury has convicted him on all 3 federal felony gun
Woo.
charges he faced, concluding that he violated laws meant to prevent drug addicts from owning firearms.
So it begins, huh? We're just going to start imprisoning everyone.
I guess we're going to put everybody in prison.
No, we're going to convict him and not imprison.
Well, yeah, we're going to convict them, then they're going to appeal, then they're going to get off. But it's going to waste a lot of money.
Do you think that the Trump will get off too?
No,
Probably not. It depends. If he
How
becomes
is that
president, I
justice?
mean, can't he just pardon himself? Was it a
'Cause he's-
federal? Was his a federal offense?
no, he had to
No,
go to New
state.
York for
Okay,
it.
if it wasn't federal, he can't pardon himself then.
Well, the problem that they have is that they literally combined a bunch of different charges to even get it up to a federal
Yep.
offense.
I think that
A
he'll.
felony.
I think.
felony,
he'll-
I mean, excuse me.
Are we on Trump now or Biden?
Well, I'm looking at Biden right now. It still hasn't appeared on my screen.
Oh, it's all over Twitter already.
So it's all over Twitter, but it's not on the
NBC
news
News
services.
special report. Yeah,
Okay, what does it say?
just like what I just read.
So because President Biden has already said he will not pardon his son.
Oh, they haven't had a chance to react to it. It just came out for about 3 seconds ago.
But he said that yesterday. He will not pardon him
Oh.
if he's convicted.
Hmm.
Do you think that's true?
I don't think he'll have to. I don't think he'll do any jail time. Like I said, I think it'll
I
be,
see. So
it'll
that-
be, oh, he went to rehab for 555 times. He's a changed
Yeah.
man. He isn't doing drugs anymore. He's already been punished enough through, public opinion, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to do anything to him.
We have got to get politics out of our court system. It does not belong in our court system at all. I don't know if either of these guys should have been convicted of felonies. I mean, is that a felony, what he did? It sounds like it is.
Yeah.
They had to put a bunch of them to get together to get to the felony level for Trump. I mean,
They had to make new laws for Trump.
Yeah, they did.
Sure did.
They did.
They had to make up laws.
So what did Hunter Biden allegedly do?
He bought a gun.
He bought and carried a gun when he was under the influence of narcotics.
But that's not a
Yes, it is.
felony.
You're not, when you're a drug addict, when you're not supposed to be.
Well, if you're a felon, you're not supposed to. But I mean,
Oh,
just possessing a gun while being a drug addict isn't technically illegal.
Yeah, it is
well,
illegal. To buy one is.
I don't know about
It-
that.
I think it falsified the documents. That's
He made false statements on a
There.
federal gun form.
Right.
Okay.
That's
There
what
you
he
go.
did.
Yep.
Certifying he was not a user, et cetera, et
Right.
cetera. Okay, so you're not allowed to lie about it.
So he could get up to 25 years, I guess.
Yep, he could get up, but he won't get in.
But he won't, I wouldn't think. I mean, do you think this is going to weigh in? Because Trump doesn't even get the judge's call until what, July 11th or something like
Yeah,
that?
it's going to be a while.
So same thing for Hunter Biden. He'll get the call at about what, like July 20th or something?
I think it was the 11th. I think it might be in a month or something like that for
Yeah,
Trump.
for
So Biden was what? Yeah, like a week or two
About a-
after Trump.
about a
So
week
it'll
later, yeah.
probably be a week or two after that.
or that might just have to occur in November.
No, yeah, one
Like
day
end of
before the
November.
election.
No, after.
Oh,
It'll
one
be
day
interesting.
after. Yeah.
If Trump is president from jail.
Yeah, because he could get elected. There's no question
That's
about it.
Nothing stopping you.
Yeah.
Did you see one of the big writers in America? I can't remember the guy's name, but he said that they have got to talk Biden into dropping out of this race because he can't win. And it was one of his own people.
Well, they keep showing him just standing there like he's just.
I
I mean,
know.
I was in the
oh.
memory care facility with my
Yeah,
father.
yep.
I saw the looks and the
I
and the
know.
stances and even the way that they walk. he's a classic case.
Seems like it.
I don't understand
This is
how
what
they didn't have somebody, just come in and say, Joe's done what he needed to do. He's got this country back on track, and now the younger version of Joe's coming in. Why didn't they just do that?
Yeah, well, this is what you get when you got these people that are old. You run the risk of having, these degenerative diseases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I would do is if I was like on his cabinet, I would put him in a backwards baseball cap and sunglasses. I'd give him
Weekend at Bernie's.
I'd give him a Game Boy, and a skateboard. Make him look nice and young.
Well, they already did that. Remember him jogging and biking, and then he fell
fell
off
off
his
the bike,
bike.
yeah,
And
which
then,
didn't help.
The jogging didn't go too long, but yeah. What was that? CNN. They did everything they could. The guy confessed to the fact that they were going to show how youthful
Yeah.
Biden was. That's what they were going to go for.
Yeah, I guess after a certain point, you really can't do the fellow kids thing anymore, can you?
Well, with AI, anything can be.
That's true.
You can just put Joe's head on a skateboard park kid.
Mhm.
Look at me.
Or put him on a parkour kid.
Yeah, there we
There
go.
you go.
Leaping from buildings. And
I wonder
my
if
God.
2028 we're going to be seeing extraordinarily young candidates. I wonder if it's going to swing the other way.
No,
No?
because
You don't think it's ever going to happen?
America's still controlled by a bunch of white guys, old white guys.
Mhm.
It's still that way, and slowly that's going to change, but it's not going to change before 28.
You don't think there's going to be a knee-jerk reaction and everyone's going to start voting for 35-year-olds?
I think the last thing that would be good for this country would be to have some radical kid right out of college or law school running the country.
35 is the youngest you can be president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
So technically, I'm like the youngest-ish. I'm close to the youngest you could possibly
35,
be
yeah.
president. So
well, you have way too much common sense to be president.
Mm.
So
Plus, you're
That's
not a money grubbing scum either, so that wouldn't work for you.
also, I wouldn't do anything.
Now sit there.
Other
yeah.
countries would be like, fly over. And I'd be like, nah.
Nah.
You come here. How about?
how about everything's on Zoom? Everything's on Zoom.
Yeah, we could Zoom meetings. That'd be wonderful.
We'll talk on, join my World of Warcraft guild. We'll talk there.
Well,
There
the
you go.
taxpayers picked up Jill Biden going over to where was she? Somebody in Paris was. She had,
Yeah,
to, go to Paris
yep.
for what? It was a family thing.
Oh, that's right. There was a family deal over there. Yeah,
There was a
that's right.
family
You're
thing,
right.
and she went to Paris, and we had to pick up the flights. Why?
Oh,
I mean,
Michelle-
they're a very wealthy family.
Oh,
Why
all
can't they
the-
pay for their own flights?
all the first
personal
ladies
flights.
do that. Michelle Obama, she did that too. She did a couple of personal things. I mean, it's just
I understand, but I
that's
mean,
what you do. Yeah, it's the benefit of the office. It's one of
okay,
the perks.
Ralph,
Come on.
either climate change is real or it's not.
I know. Well,
Okay.
but they don't want to do anything about any of those things. They refuse to do anything about climate change. I mean, just the smallest things like fixing traffic lights so that you're not sitting there burning
I know.
fuel.
Sometimes it's like you're literally sitting there for like 5 straight
Oh,
minutes.
it's so annoying.
These are trivial things that they have now to put in these lights. They're Arduino cards
Mhm.
that run the lights, and the light they can sense, if someone's at the intersection or not, and all they need to do is turn the light. If no one's there, you just keep that light green. Now, some lights are like that, but a lot of them are there. They'll sit there. You can sit there, and there'll be nobody coming through the other direction.
I guess down in Florida, we're in that area that we're living, that they're putting those in. There's going to be like a whole test area of something like 10 miles of these smart lights to see if it can help relieve congestion.
Or why don't we start burning through and put the what do you call it, roundabouts in.
They are doing that everywhere.
Yeah,
They're putting roundabouts
Because
everywhere.
your car never stops,
Right.
or rarely stops. If it stops for just a brief or slows down, and you don't have the energy to run the lights and all of the carbon footprint of the lights, maintenance of the lights.
Right. That is
run,
very true.
and the power to run the lights. I mean,
Yeah.
but no, we couldn't do that.
Well, people hate roundabouts because they're not used to them. And
Yeah, I used to not really like them, and now it's like I'm kind of indifferent.
And the other thing, and this is a liberal idea. I'm biting my tongue right now.
Oh, there you go.
But the thing what they should do is they should say, okay, gasoline is what, $4 $4 a gallon. You want to reduce carbon emissions. They just double that value in tax to the federal government.
Yes, they could
And
do
they
that.
take that money to
That's
the
what they do in
state.
Europe, basically.
Yeah. So it should be, you double the price of that gasoline, and the use of gasoline and carbon emissions will just start to drop. People they'll stop driving pickup trucks, all that sort of stuff that don't need to drive pickup trucks.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're working in a construction.
Well, yeah, but then there's tax breaks for companies that have trucks and things. I mean,
Right.
the way you take care of people like that, you don't create a burden for people who are using their vehicle for work. But for, some teenage kid
I love it when
around.
I'm seeing like a 60-year-old woman driving an Escalade by herself. It's like, do you really need that theater on wheels?
Escalade.
No, it's ridiculous.
There you go.
It's like, that's the thing now. It's like middle-aged white women driving Escalades. Very different from how it was when I was a kid.
I see if you've got 3 kids and you're all involved in sports, 2 or 3 kids and you're all
Oh,
involved
God,
in sports.
Well, then you get a
Then
minivan.
you need a giant. Then you do need a giant vehicle.
Yep.
I mean, our minivan isn't small, but it is extremely fuel efficient. Escalades, I doubt, are very fuel efficient. Let's see.
I think most
Escalade
cars are a
MPG.
lot more fuel efficient than you.
Oh, they're
I mean,
at least they're
nowadays
reported
it's-
as being more fuel efficient.
Escalade 19 highway. Pretty
Ooh,
bad.
That's pretty bad.
That is
That's
pretty
pretty
bad.
bad. Well, they're gigantic. And
How
they're
about what Hummers? What are those?
Humvee.
Aren't they
Well,
like 9 miles to the gallon? Or
I
something?
believe that the H2 or whatever number they are, I think they're just the Escalade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're kind of related in some way.
Oh.
Let's see. Well, I mean, a Humvee is a military vehicle, so
No,
what do
no,
you-
the H2. That's not. That's
the Hummer H2.
H2.
Okay.
That's a commercial.
Let's
Or not
see
the-
the civilian version.
Yes.
Combined looks like 10. So yeah, not good.
Wait a minute. What was that?
10 miles a gallon for the Hummer H2.
10 miles a gallon.
Remember when those were super popular?
Oh,
about
God,
what was
yes.
it, 20 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
They were all over the place.
Well, it
I'm
makes
just
me
like,
makes me
God.
think of about 20 years ago. The Simpsons did an episode with the Canyonero, and
Canyon
so
Arrow.
the Arnold Schwarzenegger guy is driving one of them, and Homer gets in. He's like, "Wow, there's so much room. What kind of gas mileage does this thing get?" And he goes, 1 highway, 0 city.
0 miles. to the
0
gallon.
miles to the gallon. Oh, God.
But we have a hybrid minivan. It's a Chrysler Pacifica hybrid, plug-in hybrid.
Right.
So it's got a 35 mile battery,
That's
which is, 35 miles isn't much, but if you're just driving in the city or,
Yep.
the suburbs or whatever, that's as much as you need, really. We barely ever use gas. And so our combined gas mileage is like bordering on 60 because we use gas so little.
that's great.
And so, yeah, I mean, and all you have to do is you just plug it into an outlet every night and it works.
Yep.
So, I
Huh.
mean, honestly, I could see pretty much every car becoming one of those at some point.
I think
I
hybrids
really
make
don't s-
way more sense than an all electric
Yeah,
car.
I really don't see pure electric being like the ubiquitous thing for a very long time because the grid there's no way it could handle that kind of amperage.
That we've had an energy department who has done nothing to improve the service or the grid in the past 60 years. When was that?
Yeah, it's
The Department of Energy was supposed to do that, and they don't do that at all. I don't know what they do. So
no, our grid cannot handle everyone having an electric car. It's just not possible.
Well, also you've got the problem if people need to drive long distances.
but-
Who wants to stop every 250, 300 miles and
No,
have to
no,
wait for
no.
12 hours for your car to
No,
charge?
I just went through this. There's a car and driver article about ranges of vehicles, of electric vehicles.
Right.
And they list a number of them. And in that article, they list some things about the electric vehicles. Well, one, they don't do so good in cold weather.
No.
So it can reduce your distance by, say,
Sure.
15%.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how our battery holds up in
Also,
the winter.
You can't charge it to 100%. You're not supposed to do that because it's hard on the battery. And you can't discharge it to 100% because you're afraid the thing will brick Did yours brick
No,
once?
it
Did your
No,
electric brick?
as soon as I heard that I was going to brick, I sold it. It's like goodbye.
And then all the mileage that they state is at 60 miles an hour. Nobody drives 60 miles an hour on a freeway.
No.
Everybody drives 75, 80.
Nobody
And if you
drives
go
it.
out in if you get out in like the southern Utah, the speed limit's 80 or 85
Wow.
in southern Utah. So that cuts on the mile. So really, if you really look at it realistically, you don't get 300 miles out of a Tesla. You might get 150
Yeah,
Right.
that's
in
right.
a cold weather. So you're up here in northern climes, middle of the winter, and you're trying to get from here to Chicago on the freeway. It's going to take a while.
Why would
Yeah.
I ever want to go to Chicago?
Yeah, not anymore. I used to
Unrealistic scenario.
used to love going to Chicago. Now I wouldn't even think of going there.
Mhm.
That's sad. I mean, that's sad.
It's
All the
very
big
sad.
cities. Is there one big city you would go to?
Vegas.
Is that a big enough city now, though?
I think
I think it's
most
pretty
of the
big.
touristy areas and also Vegas, yeah, they keep, I mean, there's always been like
Oh,
wackadoodles all
I
over Vegas, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're stabbing each other on the streets.
Yeah, Josh discovered something in Vegas that he's living there now, and that's my son. He discovered a thing called the Italian American Club,
Oh, there you go.
and the Italian American Club is on Sahara, east of the Strip. Oh, maybe 12 blocks.
Sure.
It's past a rocky kind. There's you can see a lot of prostitution, drug dealing, and there's some other odd kind of things around there. And when you're driving there, you go, man, this is kind of creepy. I don't know, is this going to be real safe? But you get to the Italian American Club and you park your car, and there's a guy there with a sort of like a pancake hat on with a gun in his
Uzi.
No, he has a
Uzi,
gun in
yeah.
his in the back of his pants in his belt, walking around. This guy is not I don't believe a law enforcement individual or has
Most
had
likely
law
not.
enforcement. I think he's a soldier.
Oh,
So, and
wow.
we went there for dinner, and I looked down at the end of the bar where we were sitting, and there was a guy there, and he had a peculiar dress. And the only other time I've seen this peculiar dress is in West Palm. But there was a guy, and he had the collar. It's the collar that's really long like this, but is very narrow together.
mhm.
You can just barely see the tie,
Oh,
thing like
yeah.
that. Yeah, I think that he was, I think he was Italian.
You think it was a sword
I
tie?
I think he was Italian.
Maybe.
He was an Italian, and so I think that there's no one messes with certain things there. I think that if you get out of line on the Strip, or you get out of line, or certainly at the Italian American Club, I think that's the last time. I think word's out say, no, don't go over there. Don't go over there.
Yeah, I mean, when we're in Florida, you hear things are happening there too, but the police actually find people and they arrest people.
Oh, and
I mean, they actually do something about
Yeah,
it.
that's true.
interesting, if you watch the police blotter in Vegas, the one thing that I find interesting is that there are a lot of people that plead guilty.
Really?
Oh,
A lot of plead guilty, or they get some plea deal or some such thing. Going to trial is not a lot of people plead not guilty.
Huh.
So yeah, it's interesting because I think
Maybe
police.
the courts are more lenient.
No, I think the police do a wonderful job, and those cases are pretty solid.
Oh,
That's how
Yeah.
Japan is. Japan has like a 90-something% conviction rate because if you're on trial, they've already got you.
What?
Unless they know they can convict, they're not even going to bring you to trial. If your case is shaky at all, they're just like,
well, I
get out
thought
of here.
that's how it was supposed to be.
Nope,
all
no. In
trials.
America, we bring everything to trial, no matter what.
Now,
Yeah, now
I don't know. I've served on juries, and there's a lot of deal making, even when
There
the juries are
is-
sitting out in the
yeah.
hallway.
yeah, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of like plead guilty, a lot, way more than I've noticed anyplace else.
Huh.
So,
Interesting.
yeah, it's an interesting place. Yeah.
It is interesting.
I have a question for you. Looking at this, on what you guys listen to, what you're talking about, and looking at this, and Trump and Biden and blah blah blah. Are we turning into communist China?
Slide. Everybody says that you're sort of sliding toward that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Communist China is that's a whole different deal, man. That is
and
they
Russia.
pretty bad.
they really are. They got their thumb on everybody. They
sure
know
do.
they know where everybody is all the time.
Well, that's why I was asking you that, because are we going to have to go through
Oh,
that?
and we're probably and in reality, the government probably knows where everybody is all the time.
Yeah,
anyhow.
you carry around your phone.
Your
Everybody,
phone,
they know
yeah.
where you are.
You carry your phone. There's facial recognition everywhere. There's license plate readers, even in Wayzata.
Yeah.
There's license plate readers. So they're kind of keeping track of, where everybody is, and it dumps into some database, and there's some sort of AI program that's scanning it and says, where's Jim? Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Elon Musk just was tweeting out some stuff about the Apple iPhone, about how they're tracking everybody,
They
and
are
that he's,
AI, yeah.
Well, of course they are.
No, there's some new thing. There's a security breach that Apple is aware of, and they have not fixed it. It was a bunch numbers and letters, and he said, if Apple doesn't take care of this, I'm not going to be able to allow employees to have Apple products on at work.
Right. Yep.
And he's talking about making a Starlink phone that will not track you and will not collect your
That would
data.
make a lot of money.
I would buy
And
one.
I'm
in a
like, I
minute.
would get one of those in a minute.
See, that's the thing when people are talking about like, oh, the corporations are tracking me. It's like, well, you're carrying around a tracking device with you 24 hours a day.
Yes.
And on top of that, it's like, how complex do you think your schedule is that the government can't find you?
Right.
If they want to come get you, they're just going to wait at your house until you show up.
Right.
Or
Yeah,
wait at your work
true.
until because they know where you live
Right.
and they know where you work. It's
Right.
not like, you're not Jack Bauer. They're not going to have to like find your footprints and follow you into the woods or anything like that. So,
Find your footprints via satellite. Yeah.
being tracked isn't a good thing, but it's not something you can fight. And it's not something that really matters to most people.
No. Not, especially if you're just not committing all kinds of crimes.
But since you brought up SpaceX, have you discussed the Starship launch?
No.
No, we have not.
Starship 4 launch that launched last
Florida,
week?
right?
Yep.
Last week, yeah, the Starship, the fourth
Yep.
test launch of the Starship launched,
June 6th. So yes,
June 6th.
5 days ago.
and it launched, was successful launch, delivered not only delivered the Starship into a suborbital path, the booster landed pretty much safely in the water, which was planned. That's all planned. They just landed vertical in the water,
Right.
just plopped over. And then the Starship came down, burned up a little bit, but even that was able to right itself and go through most of the maneuvers. So it was like a 90% successful test. That's the thing that's going to deliver the satellites, the Starlink satellites for those phones.
Mhm.
I'm willing to bet.
Well, there's already
Mhm.
a billion Starlink satellites up there.
Well, our neighbor moved into an area, I think it's Maple Grove, and she said that the internet is terrible up there. The speeds are just
Why?
absolutely horrid, and they work from home. So she needs better, but she said the Starlink thing, you have got to have the satellite. I guess
What?
you have to have a satellite for the Starlink on your house.
No, you have to have a
You have to have a
an antenna.
receiver.
You have
Yeah.
a receiver.
I
You
thought it was
antenna.
like a big thing though, and a lot of
No, it's the
HOAs
size-
don't let you
it's
put.
It's the size of one of these monitors.
Yeah, no.
Oh, really?
Antennas are very
Remark.
small these days.
Oh, well, she said it was like $600 or something to
Yeah,
set
probably
up
about right.
Starlink.
Hmm
600,000. It was $1,000
Well,
for the
it's-
best one a while back, and it may have gone cheaper.
It's like DirecTV, they have the satellites up there. You get the dish installed. It probably was a couple $100. And then once it's installed, there you go. You got it.
Well, I just don't understand how Maple Grove, which is it's got a pretty good
Big town,
population,
yeah.
how they
Yeah.
don't have better
Yep.
better internet.
That is
speeds.
interesting.
Oh well, some part of that problem is playing out in Wayzata. We had Mediacom there for years and years and years, and it
Mhm.
was, and their infrastructure was just it was getting ratty.
A lot of these
And-
coaxial cable,
okay.
the buried coaxial lines, they're starting
With the
to-
older,
they're
this is 30 years old.
Yeah,
out
they're
there, maybe more.
oxidizing. The shielding is getting chewed up. It's
Oh.
not
So Comcast came through, and they put in new buried cables.
Yep, which you have
everywhere.
to do every so often.
You have to
It's
do.
expensive, but you got to do it.
Mediacom has not done that,
Yep.
and actually, Comcast came through and they put in fiber optics. So fiber
Oh,
optic
good.
to a central terminal, then the coaxial cable comes out from there. But they just put it in. Everybody in our neighborhood is dropping Mediacom and going. And Mediacom is just letting their market share go away.
They're
They're
putting-
not doing anything.
They're putting
Why?
fiber out in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Really?
Everything is going to be fiber in 30 years.
Did you have fiber to your house or just fiber out
It's
and then
to the
coaxial?
house.
fiber to your house.
Well, yeah, I think it's fiber to a box,
Yeah, and then you get coaxial cable.
coaxial, but it's still
Gigabit.
it's still gigabit speeds, and um the maintenance cost of fiber is a lot lower because glass doesn't oxidize. Once it's buried, if assuming the sheathing stays intact, it's going to be fine pretty much forever because glass is glass. It stays how it is.
I remember when we moved into our building, it was one of the things is that it had fiber optics.
But your fiber optic was not good.
Well, they're redoing everything.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
huge upgrade.
Well, your fiber optic was premature is the thing. Because there's fiber optic's been a thing for a million years. You can get
I remember
digital optical audio out for probably 30 years now. But so it's like the fact that it's fiber optic doesn't really mean that it's good. It's just a method of transmitting the data.
I remember a time back when we lived in Dayton, you had fiber optics put in out there.
That wasn't
he
fiber
did.
optic. That was what was it? That was an ISDN line.
Yeah.
Pretty sure down to the barn.
And that's just twisted pair. That's enough of that technical talk. We're technical talk now. Hey, we're technical talk.
There's no way we had fiber optic in Dayton.
I think we did.
It was probably I would agree. It's probably because we had ISDN in Wayzata. That was one of the first broadband kind of service we had.
Maybe T1, but T1 was insanely expensive back then.
Yeah, but T1 is still came in on twisted pair.
Yeah, it was all twisted pair. None of it was fiber.
Which is just a normal. That's the normal line that goes into your telephone.
Yep,
that's twisted pair. What the old telephone POTS line.
Yeah, I don't even really understand exactly what T1 is. I just know it was the fast thing, but really expensive. But somehow you didn't need to change your cables.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like DSL. It's basically dial up, but it's faster. But I don't know how. But I was also very young when all that was a thing. No one has. Well, some people still have DSL, not many, but some. I don't think anyone has T1 anymore. It's just not worth the cost.
That all was going to be the AT&T project. And when AT&T when they broke up AT&T, they all that went to France and international. And broadband was available in France, maybe 20 years before it even showed up here as Minitel.
That's because everyone lived in the same, 10-mile radius.
Yeah.
It's very easy to give everyone broad. But the flip side is if you didn't live in a big city, you didn't have internet at all.
Yeah. But that was a long time ago that AT&T had that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're closing it out with this because many listeners sent me messages. They think what's going to happen with all these trials is that President Biden is going to pardon his son, but in order to do that, he's going to also have to pardon Trump. Ooh. What do you think about that take?
Doubtful.
You going doubtful on that one?
Well, that would put him in a good light with a lot of those marginal people with Trump.
That's what I'm thinking.
That could be the play. That could just swing the election to him. There's that sort of thing, and he's supposed to be a good Christian, good Catholic. He's a good Catholic boy.
Catholic boy, yeah.
It's our second Catholic president.
I know it's only been two.
Horror.
What are you going to do?
When are we going to get a good Jewish president? That's what I want to see.
How about a Rastafarian president?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's in time.
How about a Jewish Rastafarian president?
I'd love a laid-back president that wasn't angry all the time.
That'd be good.
I'd go for that.
It wasn't bitter.
I don't know.
Bitter and angry all the time. Wouldn't that be nice?
Jamaica's got a lot of crime problems.
And not 80 years old.
And not, well, yeah, that's the thing.
Well, there's a lot of people that aren't criminals.
That's what we're electing. 80-year-old.
We should accelerate. I think we should accelerate. I think we should go to a 100-year-old president.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We should get a 115-year-old president next.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, God, here we go. Why do these news organizations lie the way they do? And I'm not even saying which one's lying.
No, Tom, they're just spinning the story. They're not lying.
No, they're just gaslighting. That's all.
Oh, my God. I just looked at something because I was looking up to see if Trump has commented yet on Hunter Biden. But the headline that pops up immediately is Joe Biden leads Donald Trump among America's top pollster. That's the number one story. You see his picture right there?
Yeah.
You know when that was from?
2021.
2020. They put it as the top story on there.
Yeah, look at that juxtaposition or
Yeah.
juxta. Not, that's not, yeah, I guess what's
It'd be a juxtaposition.
omniposition or something. I don't know what you call that. Best position in that rather than putting it next to something. It's
But
the top.
they make it look like he just said that, and he
Well,
said it
that's-
4
They
years
do
ago.
that all
Yes,
the
they
time.
do.
Disgusting.
All the time.
Maybe Trump should announce that he would. He understands
pardon
that
him?
he understands the burden
Yeah.
that Hunter Biden's going through, and that he would pardon him if elected.
Mhm.
Would pardon him if elected. Oh, that's another play.
There you go.
That
another
would be
play.
another play there. So who's gonna blink first? Who's gonna announce first?
Us justice impacted individuals have to stick together.
Yep.
AP
exactly.
News.
As a fellow con.
I'm not Justin Impact. I'm Justin Burden.
Mhm.
Justice Burden.
Aren't we all?
That's right.
Well, we'll close with this one because it's hilarious. One of the big news services in America has released an announcement. Hunter Biden trial judge was appointed by Trump.
Yeah, and Trump judge was appointed by who?
By
Biden.
Biden.
By either Biden or Obama.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Doesn't,
I
but
mean, it's-
that's how it
Hey,
always is.
cutie. Jude says the show's over.
Judy,
Yeah, it
ready to
is.
He
go.
All
got
right.
up. He got up and
Show's
licked
over.
my leg. He's like, time to go now.
What the hell happened? It's still only 61 degrees out. Is that
It's
right?
going to be like 78
That's
this
what I thought.
afternoon.
It's supposed to be sunny too.
I think the
isn't it?
sun just needs to come out. Right now, it's very cloudy and it rained.
Sun comes out, they say at about 11 a.m. it's going to be 66, but noon, sunny and 72.
Yep.
And 1 o'clock, actually, you're right, at 4 o'clock, it'll be 82 and sunny.
Yeah, and it just rained and it'll get humid. And so the mosquitoes this afternoon should be a delight.
Yeah, psychotic.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.
Bye.
Every time I hear the singing reminds me how you talking